Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Heather. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids, elementary, high school, and recent graduate. Today I'm going to be chatting about my sophomore's homeschool history for this year. So let's get into it. Okay guys, so if you saw my video a couple of weeks ago, my homeschool update video, it was our first homeschool update video for the 2025-2026 homeschool year. I did chat a little bit about how I made a mistake with my sophomore's history for this year. And the history is something that I had put together. I had done all of the research, I pulled the books, I purchased the books, I put everything together. But as we started, I realized, number one, it was very literature heavy, which makes sense. We definitely are literature-based homeschoolers. I have been using Sunlight curriculum primarily since 2010. And this year, we were not doing a Sunlight History Bible Literature program because the next one would have been church history as well as classical literature. Neither of those things were really things that Jack was interested in. And I knew that I wanted to wait until next year for 20th century world history. So I ended up designing a whole course for him, and I really liked the course. However, it was very literature heavy. It was a lot of work, and he also has a pretty heavy English class this year. And with some of his goals and some of his other projects, I realized that we did not have the time to spend for this particular history course. And some of the resources were just a little bit drier or maybe not as engaging as I had hoped that they would be for him. And so we ended up scrapping that a few weeks into the homeschool year, maybe about a month in. And then I really had no idea what I was going to use for him for history. Technically, he has already done US history, and he has done government and economics. And next year he's planning, well, I'm planning to have him do 20th century world history as a junior, and then he still technically has his senior year that we could do another history. I don't necessarily think that it's required for him because he's not interested in going into humanities. I think that he is definitely going to be in some sort of either engineering or computer science field. And so I wanted to make sure that I gave him space to work on the projects that he finds value in, and it was building the skills that he needs to build for his future career aspirations. And so I went back to the drawing board, and I wasn't sure what to do, but I went back through some of the old resources that I actually have purchased over the years, and I went back and looked through some of the elective things that I had done with Emma. And the first thing that I came up with was actually this entrepreneurship unit from Gather Round Homeschool. Now, these are unit studies, and essentially what a unit study is, if you've never used them, it combines all of the subjects in a month-long unit. Well, we don't need science or English or language arts. We have all of those subjects covered. And so I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to use a unit study, but I thought that I could potentially pick and choose some of the things from here. I am not as concerned about the notebooking aspect of the unit study. I am much more excited about the entrepreneurship business plan. And essentially, this is just in the appendix of this unit study, and it goes with each of the weeks or different lessons as far as which section you are in. But I am definitely thinking that this is what I want to be focusing on with him for the rest of this semester. I want to do a little bit of entrepreneurship. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to end up translating because of all of this notebooking that is also part of the entrepreneurship unit. It looks like an amazing unit, and I know a lot of families will use these units because these are designed to be used with any age. I think they have pre-reader all the way through high school, so it's meant to be used with a wide range of ages. And I think that that's awesome, especially if you have a big family. It's not something that we have ever done. Never say never. I mean, I do have Lucy who's in 5th grade and Jack's a sophomore. Emma is graduated, so she doesn't need to do this. But, maybe next year or maybe one semester we would do several of these units, because I believe they're meant to be done over about 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, I would say. This one I got, I believe, in 2021. I think is when I got it. It might have been 2022, but I got it specifically for Emma. And with this, because again, we had already chosen a bunch of other resources to use, with this particular unit study, I also decided to do the Dave Ramsey Entrepreneurship online course. There are 3 different courses that Dave Ramsey offers for homeschoolers. One is, I'm not going to get the titles correct. One is a personal finance, one is entrepreneurship, and then there is another one that I believe is college and career, or mainly career focused. And so my plan is to also get the entrepreneurship Dave Ramsey course, potentially get the college and career course, and have this be kind of a half credit entrepreneurship elective. And I think that that will be a lot of fun. And then in addition to this, I also wanted to bring back some personal development. And a couple of years ago, I purchased this book, What Color is Your Parachute? And we only got about 78 pages in. We had started this later in the 2nd semester. And while I was enjoying this book, it was not as engaging for the kids, and that's because it's a book for adults, so it's not necessarily something that will be engaging for high schoolers. However, I just recently saw, literally last week, that they have a What Color is Your Parachute for teens, and this is what we really need. And so I am going to be combining the entrepreneurship unit, the entrepreneurship online Dave Ramsey course, with this What Color is Your Parachute for teens. And I may actually bring Emma in on this as well, because she is right in the thick of exploring college and trying to figure out what's next. And while she really does want to be an author, she's also wondering what other skill set she may need for the future. And we haven't done a ton of career exploration. We know the typical things like doctor, lawyer, accountant, business owner / entrepreneur, those types of things. But what are the other career tracks? Obviously, there are a lot of trades out there, all kinds of different things. And so she's trying to figure out, if she decides she wants to go to college, does she want to study creative writing and further her skill set for her path of becoming an author, or does she want to do more small business management and marketing or graphic design? Or, who knows? But I thought that this would be really good for Jack as well. And so I wanted to include this with the entrepreneurship. And I don't know if I will give a separate credit for personal development. It's not something that I've ever done in the past, and we do usually do quite a bit of personal development each year. With this, I think that the other things that I want to focus on this year are rereading this book with Jack, getting things done for teens. I mainly read this with Emma when I went through it, and then also the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens, which I have raved about over the years. And we went through this several years ago. I did this with both Jack and Emma, but I would like to revisit it and then focus on some goal setting for next year, and just trying to figure out some goals and some different ideas on what is next. He's pretty good about having projects and setting his own deadlines for those projects. So I'm pleased about that. But that is essentially what my plan is for the rest of the fall semester. Now, I had some awesome comments about some different world history options and some other history type courses, and I may end up doing something like that for the second semester. Honestly, I was just thinking about what I can do for the rest of the fall term so that we don't just have a gap. Although at the same time, he is doing so much with creating his own video game and figuring out all of the programming for that and learning how to market that and get it into a space that other people can purchase it. So he's spending a lot of time on his passion project as well, and I didn't want to overwhelm him with stuff, but I thought because of that particular project that this book would be helpful, as well as the entrepreneurship book, just to get a good understanding of some of the skills needed for entrepreneurship, as well as do some of the case studies. So that is my plan for this year. I haven't even bound this yet. I literally just printed it out right before I came on to record. Trying to figure out how to print double-sided on my manual printer. It was a little challenging. I still have to punch and bind this, but I'm really excited about doing this with him for the rest of this semester. And like I said, it's definitely going to be picking and choosing some different things. And I know that there is a whole list of resources that goes with this entrepreneurship unit. I'm unsure how to get it, because there is a QR code at the start of the study or in the teacher guide, but it doesn't work anymore. Now she has an app, I think, and I'm unsure of how to use that. So I have to figure that out and figure out the books that I need for this particular unit study or videos or whatever other added resources I may need for this study. But like I said, I'm primarily going to be focusing on the big project of creating your own business plan. I think that that's going to be the biggest part of this for us, just because we don't necessarily need all of the extra stuff. I will go through and read everything from the teacher's guide, but I don't need him to do the notebooking section, because we aren't using all of these other subjects as part of his English and science and other high school credits. So that is what the big plan is, or the not so big plan, however you want to view it. I am excited. I'm really excited about this book. I think it will be good for both Jack and Emma, and I am excited about seeing what he comes up with for his business plan, because I think that that will really resonate with him. I'm also interested to see if there have been any updates to the entrepreneurship Dave Ramsey course, because when we did it originally, I think that they have updated everything since we originally purchased it, so it will be interesting to see. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this quick little peek into our new history plans, which are not even history. It is more of an elective for Jack for the rest of the fall term, and I will definitely keep you updated as we go along and how I kind of adjust this. I always want to make sure that people understand that curriculum is just a tool. It is not something that has to be followed 100% the way that it is written. You can pick and choose things that work best for you based on your individual family. There are so many amazing resources out there, but don't feel like if you purchase something, you have to use it exactly how it is written. You can always adjust things. That is one of the beauties of homeschooling. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're looking for more help and encouragement around home and homeschooling and goals, I would love for you to come check out my membership community. That link is always in the description box. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.